Hello, hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Skeptics and Seekers Sunday Sermon. This is 4S. I'm David Johnson. Let's get started with Eric Bickernex. How you doing?
Ta-da! Hey,
Hey.
hey.
My good pal Eric. We're back doing another. No, we're not. I never met this guy before
Right,
today.
really? Like, he's really wow.
The whole audience is thinking, have I missed some shows? Yeah, you probably have. So go back to the beginning and listen to them all.
Right.
And then when you get to this point, we will introduce you to Mr. Eric Bickernex. And before we do, you are probably thinking to yourself, that's a fine-looking guy. I look that good, too. I should also be on the show. I mean, why am I not on the show? You know how Eric got on the show? He sent me an email, and I said, great, you're in. That's how it works.
Okay,
Skeptics and
yeah.
Seekers at gmail.com. If you want to be on the show, don't worry about it. Do you
Right.
sound like a frog? Do you look like a frog? No problem. It's still going to be a great show. Just trust me.
And
We're going to make you look good.
come on down and get your compliments. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
bring it. Also, you can contact Skeptics and Seekers .squarespace.com. Log in your Discuss account, discuss away. You can talk about any of the things that we talk about on the show or anything else that crosses your mind. It doesn't matter where you leave your comment. I will see it because I have the Eye of Sauron and an administrative account. And so I'll see it. So don't worry about it. Now then, Eric, a writer, fellow writer, Eric has written some stuff that catches my eye. Is this a good time for a confession?
Okay.
I haven't read the books yet.
Whatever.
It's been.
No one else has, so yeah.
I've been tight. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I read a lot of books for the shows where I have guests, and
Right.
I couldn't do it
Well,
this time.
I'll take that back. The first book, there's two books I'm sort of pitching here. The first one actually got 10,500 downloads over the course of 5 years on Amazon. So I'm like, all right, this is what compelled me. Like, okay, fine. 10,000 people liked it, or at least, well, 10,000 bots liked it or whatever. But point is, yeah, I still got enough positive reviews out of it. So yeah, went to the second one and then continued the tale to the second one. So,
Okay, so we're
yeah.
gonna get to all of that. The first thing, though, I ask my guests, and I have had some very interesting guests over the course of the show over a number of years, and it does not matter how famous they are or how obscure they are. I ask them all the same thing that I'm about to ask you now.
Okay.
Who the heck are you, and why should anyone give a damn? Tell us
No one,
about yourself.
nobody and no one does. So I mean, like, all right, yeah.
This is not the answer I usually get.
Right. So what delusion I have here? I'll tell you my delusion. what I would like, I guess.
Yeah. What's if you're about to be introduced at the Writers Guild Award,
Right.
the Hugo Award, and there's a new guy, the guy who was prepared, he's sick,
Right.
and there's a new guy, and there's like 30 seconds before he introduces you. What are you
Right.
gonna tell him?
Well, that Groucho Marx comment where it's like, I don't want to be part of a gang what's this? I gotta paraphrase it.
I
So I don't want to
I
be.
wouldn't want to be a part of a member of a club that would have people like me as a member.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that's that's my starting point here. Yeah, no. Well, yes, I like self-deprecating humor. So yes, no, I'm very confident in who I am. The fact that it's funny that nobody knows who I am, but it's like, yeah, look at it. I want to, we all want to feel important and we all want to be loved and liked, especially for our opinions. Uh, so yeah, no, I'm unoffendable. I'm completely confident in my skin. Uh, and yeah, I just come to the realization that I'm the weirdo. Yeah, whatever atheist viewpoints, skeptical viewpoints. When I look at the fellow man, it's like, no, I'm the weirdo. Yep, I got it. Yep, yeah.
Well,
so,
we'll
it's
find out. We've got an
yeah.
audience full of weirdos.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I generally encourage people to let their freak flag fly. This is the place for it. So before we get too far into, we're going to get to your books.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is Skeptics and Seekers. We argue
Right.
about religion on this show, and so let me just start with your religious background. So let me start with a basic question:
Right.
Are you personally religious? Do you consider yourself religious, non-religious, a believer, an agnostic, a flaming atheist? What are you religiously?
Well, yes, atheists. Uh, I don't want to. Well, I don't want to necessarily hang out with flaming atheists, but I would agree with them. Yeah.
So you don't believe there's a God out there?
Well, I'm willing to go with it. Yeah, no, I admit that it's like that sounds really nice. It's like
Hmm.
yeah, show me, give me. I'm on board any minute that you can give me some good proof that that it whatever exists. Uh,
So
so yeah,
you.
I'm willing to go. So I really, but the fact that I want that to happen,
Mhm,
I'm the alarms go off inside the head. Like, okay, so wait a minute, so that's a bias there on my part that I would
mhm,
love to have it happen. So okay, let's think about this. Obviously, that doesn't happen with most people.
mhm,
And then again, I'm the weirdo. I'm like, the logic bone is connected to, overrides the emotional bone
mhm.
um, in this skull, and apparently it doesn't uh, with most.
Well, so you're not willing to say 100% that there's not a God, but you're not as of yet convinced by any particular God story. Is that something
Uh,
you would own?
well, so my stance is I don't know. I not enough data. I don't know.
Mhm.
But if you're going to say, well, what about the 2,000-year-old explanation? Like, really? You're going to that one? Really? And basically, religion is just an answer to how did we get here? How did we start? How did we get here?
Mhm.
Science is working on it, and okay, we're taking strides right at it. So I'm like, yeah, so, and I'm on board with it as how far did science get? And it's going to get further once I'm gone. Okay. But when you offer me, like, well, don't you like the 2,000-year-old explanation? I'm like, well, why? Why would I go with that? I mean, and if you want old, what's wrong with polytheism? Why, when you try to talk to a theist, they're like, well, explain to me why you rejected polytheism. They don't.
Mhm.
So,
So do you consider
yeah,
that you have a worldview at all? Because I actually don't
what do you
have
mean?
a worldview. I say out loud that I don't have a worldview,
Right,
and I get tackled by Christians all the time.
right.
Of course, you have a worldview. Everyone has a worldview. Well, I don't. I'm sorry.
How do
You
you know
can't.
how do you define a worldview and what is
I don't know. I was hoping you could help me with that.
yeah, well, you came up with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Whatever
what
it
is
is, I
my
don't. I don't think I have one.
well, yeah. So what is a worldview? What would be an example of a worldview? Just so
Oops. Maybe
I have
maybe a unified notion. Sorry about the fiddling with the mic here. Maybe a
okay.
unified uh, grand theory of everything, kind of what the universe is, what
Right.
our place in it is, and
Yeah,
how
that's
we should go about living life, and it kind of
okay.
becomes the framework for then how we move through life.
Right.
I mean, generically speaking, that's the best I can come up with. I think
Right.
that it's more than that, though. When people talk about worldview, when Christians talk about it in particular, I think they mean more than
Right.
than that. And but that's really all I can get. And I can tell you, even with my generic explanation,
Right.
I still don't have a worldview. I don't have a
Okay.
grand unifying
Right.
theory of everything. I don't have some guiding principle that leads me from one
Right.
moment to the next. I just don't have that.
But right. Well, basically the question is what is reality, right?
Mm,
Is if you boil it down to, to literally, right. I don't know what reality is. Or science is working like hell on that, right? And there's certain, and then springing from there, yeah, lots of people have, theories on what reality is, Whether, yeah, God did all this and put us here, blah, 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 whether we're
Mhm.
part of an alien computer simulation.
Hang on
uh,
just a moment. A quick
all right.
shout out. Darren Lute in the audience. Uh,
Where's
meet
Darren?
your long lost uncle.
Darren,
You,
hey Darren, how you doing? Hey Darren, how you doing? So
you,
yeah, so after, yeah, we'll get a beer afterwards. Okay, I was, yeah, no,
Darren is a sometimes I say sometimes a frequent co-host, friend
right,
of the show, haunts the boards. Um, I say haunts. He's alive.
okay.
I
Ooh.
think he's not a bot. He's just a slightly younger version of you.
We could
So
all be bots. You're right, alien. Yeah, we could all be bots. Yeah, we did not even know it. Right. All right, but Darren, good old Darren.
yeah. So yeah. Shout out, Loot. So so that's interesting.
The point is
So
on the just the final tag in that. Yeah.
mhm,
Um, yeah, I don't know. So, and the point is, I could be horribly wrong. I'm
mhm.
always, yeah, been wrong plenty of times. So whatever kooky idea I may or idea I might come to, I could still be wrong.
Okay.
uh,
So you've given very good, very complete, very open answers. Not good enough. I want to
yes,
know
right. Okay, you're right. We
more.
all do.
I want to know about your experience with religion because
Right. Okay.
you sound American. You
All right.
identified yourself in the Eastern time zone, so I
Yep.
think you're American. And sounds like you've been here for a while. I'm guessing you grew up here.
All right.
You can't grow up in any part of this land
Right.
without coming in contact
Right.
with religion. And
Yep.
so, tell me about your journey through involving religion. When did you first
Right.
encounter it?
All
When
right.
did you first realize that, maybe this isn't for me? Tell me how, because it shapes our lives one way or
Right.
the other, whether we end up believing in it or getting into it or not.
All right. All right, here we go. So I am the classic only child, right?
Mm,
So I've always sat by myself, you know, thinking just like, okay, what, uh, and my parents are from Latvia. Bickernicks is a Latvian name.
mhm,
Both parents came over after the war, World War II. My mother literally was in Berlin when bombs were blowing up. Um, Latvia, which is just the other side of Poland, was getting the shit kicked out of it between Germany and the Russians. And basically, I believe my grandfather was sort of a patriot for Latvia.
mhm,
That's a whole story there. Quickly for Latvia, the choice at the time, World War II, was either become, join Stalin or become a communist,
mhm.
or the fascists, which believed in we'll call it democracy, but capitalism. So as a farmer, that you owned a farm for your entire life, and your choice was, well, do I give it to the communists, or the fascists will at least allow me to keep my farm? Yeah, you're going to the fascists. European, the British, the Americans had nothing to do for that part of the war over there. So basically, my parents left. Basically, well, escaped, but had just walked away from a farm in Latvia and went through Berlin, ended up in England, and then they came over on a plane in the 50s here. So basically, they spoke Latvian. They're Latvian peasants. My mother's still a Latvian peasant. I mean, my
Mhm.
father was still a Latvian peasant. Uh, so everyone spoke Latvian in my household, and it was much resentment from my father that I learned, I knew Latvian enough when I was 5 years old, and then as you went to American school, yeah, you were just kind of absorbed in, like, yeah, other than speaking Latvian at my house, yeah, I would just yeah, English. Grew up in
Mhm.
Waltham, Massachusetts. So, but they were Lutheran,
Mhm.
and we went to the Lutheran church, right? So I sat there as an 8-year-old, had no idea what was being said. The none of they went to I'm in a church. They're singing. I have no idea what we're singing about. I stood up. There was a guy talking about something. I guess there's the big Jesus on this cross. So the point is, none of the messages were getting through because it was just gibberish. It was, for years of this, I'm like, all right, and as a kid, I'm just watching this. Like, this is an interesting little display they're doing here. You know, okay,
Hmm.
they kiss the robe over there, they got the cookie over here. I have no idea what that cookie's for. Okay, they do the water thing. I have no idea what that's interesting. You know, so as an 8 year old, I grew up just watching Lutheran religion objectively, and just like, yeah, what just a weird dance. You know, uh, the charade went all the way into the when I was 18 years old, where my mother said, you know, you need to be confirmed. Like, okay, there was the same church, 18-year-old, we're all hanging out with all the other 18-year-old Latvians. Same deal. They all spoke in Latvian. When the time came to be confirmed, it was in Latvian. I had no idea what the guy was saying. You know, I just said, yeah, okay, yes. So basically, my entire upbringing was just literally just observing religion
Hmm.
objectively, and it's just like, all right, none of it was getting through, and so that just naturally, you know, from you know, early on, I was just like, well, you know, is there anything even to that? Um, you know, and of course, when you're younger, you're more swayed by you know the crowd. Well, everyone does believe this, so there must be something to it. Adults believe that, so you know, younger on, uh, you just go with the crowd because that's what you do. You're social. You're young. You're social. Yeah, and then just slowly over, you know, 30s. I'm like, all right, the adults aren't that smart, are they? And now as a 61-year-old, oh yeah, no boy, oh boy, yeah. Um, so yeah, so I was never, I never, I've seen people who were fully in and
Hmm.
then rejected it, but I was, yeah, never really in at all
So you
during
you
all of
grew
it.
up around Lutheranism. Why didn't it take?
Well, again, it was literally spoken. I had no idea. Well, it was like it was a foreign language
Mm.
spoken. So, and my mother never sat down and like, did you understand what was being? No. So it was just taught, just this display was shown to me, and I went home. You know, I was like, all right, okay, I don't get anything. I'm all right. You know,
Did you
um,
ever have any deeper curiosity about it though? You
yes,
know.
as an adult, I'm like, okay, let's figure out what Lutheranism is all about. How did it get there? Oh yeah, no, I'm very, you know, I've researched lots of you know religion about religion. Yeah, so
Hmm.
yeah, and it's just fascinating. Uh, and it's funny when I've met the converted, when people converted have come up to me, um, you know, and I can, you know, Mormons. It's like, okay, Joseph Smith, and I ask, so tell me
Hmm.
about Joseph Smith. I know about Joseph Smith since you're promoting Mormonism to me. Uh, what is your take on it? And they have no idea. They
Hmm.
just listened. You know, they're just
Hmm.
repeating what you know their friends or whatever their social group is pulling them along to.
Would
Uh,
you consider that at any point in your life you were a true seeker of religious truth?
well, why would it be a true? Why would it be true? Or why would how would that's just someone's opinion, right? I mean, so yeah, I mean, like Buddha, that's technically an opinion. That's a very good opinion. I
Well,
don't
it's
necessarily
not so much whether
disagree,
you were a seeker of the true
right?
religion, but whether you were sincerely a seeker of truth,
Well, I'm a seeker of
of religious
knowledge.
truth.
Who
Okay.
knows what the truth is? I don't know. Yeah, we're all trying to get to the bottom of that, but oh, give me give me the whatever perceived facts or whatever information is out there. Yeah, I want it. Give me.
So you studied
So
a lot of things. Did you study
right.
the Bible at all?
No, well, I mean, I've read plenty of books about the Bible, you know. Um,
Mhm. So
so
what would you say to a Christian who says, "Well, I begin to detect a problem.
okay,
The God's revealed word is the Bible, and so you've read about the Bible, you've read
right,
about God, but you've never actually read the Word of God and come in touch with
right. That
God."
that whole thing. All right,
Hmm.
it's a little. My best analogy is like, okay, I like Monty Python, and I go uh, to somebody, hey, do you like Monty Python? Well, no. It's like, oh, you've never watched Monty Python? You should. If you only watched Monty Python, you would become a fan. You know, these people already are already convinced themselves. that's what they want to believe here. I've sort of read the Bible, yeah, reading passages, and it just gets crazier and crazier. So it's their problem. I won't say problem, but they're fine. They're embedded in their belief system that, okay, yeah, you emotionally responded to this. Certainly, it's a social thing. There's lots of
Mhm.
people telling you that this is a great, thing, that you should. And I've certainly bumped into the believers also. Recently, last year, I ran into one who, some woman was completely. There was some local David Koresh type individual who had a little church
Mhm.
and got her on board, Jesus, blah, 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 right? And she was pitching that. I met her at a farmer's market. And I was working there. She came up to me, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, that's what you believe. Good. I said, so tell me why. So why did you reject polytheism? He just looked at me blankly, like, so, and well, tell me, why did you reject Buddhism? Why did you reject Sikhism? No, she just looked at me like confused, like, oh, so you didn't go through the process, did you? You didn't actually come to a conclusion that this is the best thing, but other than this group of people sucked you in, and now, yeah, fine, you
Yeah.
loved it. But point is, none of the, and I said, listen, I said, listen, I will go to your meeting. All right, go to your meeting. You come back and tell me, give me some good facts about Sikhism. Give me some good facts about Buddhism. Tell me why you rejected them, and then I will go to your meeting if you want to pitch me your meeting here.
Mhm.
He got all pissed off, refused to, like, that's why would I want to know? Why would I know about other things when this is my precious thing that I'm trying to pitch you on? Uh, so answer to the original question is like, yeah, so why don't you like Monty Python? How dare you don't quote scripture, the parrot sketch? Yeah,
Yeah.
this is your opinion. This is just your opinion. And yeah, okay, that's cool. Have at it.
So one last question on this, but
All
look, I
right.
could listen to you talk about. You're a man with stories that I want to hear.
Uh-oh.
Um, so I'm I'm now curious. Was there any part of the Jesus story? He died for our sins and wants to save you and be with you forever in heaven, and the whole works. We're fallen humans, and God has been working plan after plan to get us back in relationship. And however you summarize that story, is there any part of the Christian presentation of the story that makes you, or that has made you think that would be a good thing? That sounds interesting. That's really caught your eye, because it sounds like you've got lots of reasons for skepticism, which I'm not questioning. But was there ever any part of your walk where you thought, huh, it's that's not bad. That's not a bad idea.
Well, yeah,
Any
no, there's
part of it?
plenty of good ideas in all religions, or especially Christian. But yeah, so as example, I was just doing a podcast with somebody 3 days ago, and they were saying how, well, God is love. God is love. I'm like, yeah, we get that sounds good. Yes, love is a good. Yeah, good. Be nice to your neighbor. Uh, don't covet the neighbor. Well, all right, but yeah, yeah. What's not to dislike about it if you're talking about positive? Yeah, being nice to people. Quick, I want to point out that the classic argument as an atheist is like, well, how come you don't want to kill people? It's like, well, it's not my interest to kill other people. Tigers don't kill each other. It's in their interest to get along and kill other things. Hey, wait a minute. That's an analogy to other Christians. Okay. So now, when you actually study the Bible, when you actually get down to the nitty gritty here, and there's plenty of books written about this, and there's certainly biblical scholars that say, yeah, okay. So the story started, it took 30 years after this person's death, and we won't even discuss whether Jesus existed or not. Most of the scholars are like, yeah, somebody existed back then who, yeah, who got this started.
Mhm.
But it took 30 years for the stories to be put together, and then basically the canon, the actual Bible was written when 300 years after basically there's so many goofy stories out there that said this committee of human beings said, okay, listen, hold on. We're going to have to narrow this down to the ones that are on message here. You notice that there are no teenage messages from Jesus, right? Because apparently, if I had to research, apparently, as a teenager, Jesus had fun with his powers, and it was turning people into animals. And then, like, yeah, okay, now we will. That's why it's not in there. There are apostles or writers who had a good story for that section of his life.
Mhm.
Well, we'll leave that out. So basically, it's yeah, it's and this is not my opinion. If you want to, yeah, if any scholars are out there, I mean, they all agree that yeah, that yes, a committee was formed, a religious church, well, and got it down to this section here of stories, and that thus this is true. It's like, okay, so you're saying that those people, I have to believe that committee that these are true, and the other ones aren't. So, and again, then we can go down. Well, why did they come to that conclusion? We know why. They're trying to keep everyone on point.
Mhm.
That's the message. We went okay, um,
You know,
of how to behave as a churchgoer. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean
So yeah.
there are lots of committees. I mean
Right.
the Catholic Bible has books that the typical Protestant Bible doesn't. Orthodox
Right.
Bibles have slightly different arrangements. Jews have differ on which parts of the Hebrew scriptures are
Can I?
canonical and which aren't.
I respect the Jews just because they're going with the original text. Like, okay, yeah, if you're gonna go old, yeah, all right, I respect that. I don't believe it, but it's like, good. You're damn it, no, we're sticking with the original text.
Yeah,
I respect that.
some, there are different factions of Jews. I mean, there always
Right,
have been. Jews are not a
right,
monolithic people, any
right,
more than Christians are a monolithic people. So
right.
there are all kinds of differences. Okay, look, that is interesting, and to dive more deeply into that, we will just have to have you back again, unless this show becomes. Look, I could talk all day about this, but I think I could probably talk all day about the other thing that you were actually interested in, which is your writing. So I'm a writer, and I've done my bit as a starving artist. I was a musician long before I was a writer, and
Been there too.
I made enough money to not quite starve to death doing that. But the call to do something creative, I guess, strikes some of us. And even if we tell ourselves, well, this is how I'm going to pay the bills, this is going to be my retirement. This is a serious pursuit. The fact is, we pursue it whether we make any money or not. So
Delusion. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's a
let me
nice
just
delusion.
ask about your writer's delusion.
Right.
When did you know that you wanted to spend your time writing? First of all, when
Right.
did you know that you could do it?
All
And
right.
tell me about that.
All right. So, all right. If you asked my middle school teacher that, you said, "Hey, that kid over there is going to write three novels," the woman would be like, "No, there's no way Eric is going to write three novels. That kid is an idiot. He doesn't even know the difference between an adjective and an adverb. Yeah, there's no way in hell. I was always a filmmaker from by trade. That's what I made a living, making pretty pictures, whether it's on video, film, Photoshop. So I think visually, uh, to me, that's very easy. Just like, oh yeah, I can paint. Well, poorly, but if I spent the last 40 years, I could have been a good painter by now. Um, and that entails writing scripts. You have to write a script. If you're going to shoot a video, you need to write a script.
Hmm.
So, okay, all right. So that early on, I've been like, okay, I'll write scripts here. Bing, 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 bing. Um, and yeah, scripts it's interesting. The scripts tend to be a lot of dialogue, so I'm very good at that. That just flows right out. So it's odd when I hear people, other say things about writers like, well, the dialogue is kind of stilted. Like, really? It's kind of easy. It just flows out. But the prose part is the stumbling block for me here, where it's just like, I don't do poetry.
Hmm.
It's not like I construct. That's a beautiful sentence, and I was like, yeah, no, yeah, I'm getting to the point. I'm just writing what I'm thinking, what I want these characters to do. so it's kind of annoying for my Wellesley educated wifey girlfriend here that she's into poetry. I could care less about the words, and that's a whole art into itself. I'm lousy at that. I just get to the point, and I conceive it as a filmmaker. So the writing part, the actual prose, the double quotes, comma, he said, comma, period. All right, that's torture for me. But I can do it now as a 6-year-old. I've gone through three novels, but it's really really slow, and so yeah, but the point is, I'm basically a plotter. So as a filmmaker, yeah, you need to plan all this. What's the ending? What's my point I'm trying to make? What's the shortest amount of time I can get this on, into on screen? So so yeah, so the bookish part is, yeah, the tough, the actual tough part, the thinking part. Yeah, it just comes natural. Yeah, I got plenty of ideas and da da da. And now that I've spent all this time, decades, learning the formula of what a thriller is, the beats, da da da. Oh yeah, I got that. Yep, got it all figured out. Didn't have that as a 20-year-old. And I find it interesting that no, I could never have written anything like this as a 20-year-old. And I the fact that it's fairly easy now as an old guy, 61-year-old. And I remember that quote. I don't know if it was Hemingway or somebody. He said advice for a young writer is just basically live and then write about it. And that's why you see 10 of us old guys being writers, because any
Mm-hmm.
subject I can then, I can do something on, expound something. And if I wrote something, yeah, it would have been derivative as a 20-year-old. Yeah, that's what you are, when you're young. You just, yeah, I like this, and this, and then eventually you get your quote voice.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Unfortunately, no one likes my voice, uh,
I
which
mean,
is skeptical.
you may not have an audience of millions, but I bet that there are plenty of people who like your your voice.
But problem is, as Stephen King said, it's like he respects any writer that if you have written something and you can pay your water bill with it. Okay, he respects that. Yeah, through my fiction, I haven't paid any water bills yet, so so I'm getting there. Um, so yeah, so here I am now, a 61-year-old, old guy. It's like, yeah, in life, I'm like, all right, yeah, I can do this. Now I can do it.
When did you start gaining confidence in that though? It
Yeah, after the
wasn't just
first,
yesterday. So
well, I was always confident in conceiving a story, a plot line. I've been doing that. I shot my big fat failed indie feature I did back in 2000. We wrote an entire film script, right,
mhm.
120 pages. Shot it, lug full film, shot it on film. World didn't care. Well, there goes 30 grand. So yeah, so oh, I'm very confident in my ability to, like, yeah, I got an idea, I got a concept. Yeah, these people come in, oh yeah, that's been doing that since day one. Even as a teenager, shooting movies and stuff, or writing movies. And I think the term writing is kind of a misnomer, where people will say, well, oh, I wrote, my goal was to write 2,000 words today, and
Mhm.
I'm going, well, were they good 2,000 words? Were they worth those 2,000 words worth reading? Did you just yeah, I can spew out cliches. Yeah, I can type fast. Yeah, I can, but the trick is, like, okay, what isn't a cliche? And that takes just a lot of this. Just like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm at the same computer where I write right now. This is what I look like. And then just chip at us per sentence. Uh, so yeah, so yeah, yeah. Don't do what I do. Or don't pick the genre I did. A skeptic on Bigfoots, UFOs, religion. Yeah, there's no audience for that. Yeah, no.
Let's
Right?
go
Yeah,
there.
just right. UFO. Yeah, the aliens are attacking. You will sell bunches of books
Mhm.
if you write about the aliens attacking, ancient aliens that came by, that enthralled with us. Yeah, big
Yeah,
money there.
let's go there.
Okay,
Bigfoot,
all right.
UFOs, um, abductions,
Right.
encounters. These are the words of kooks. How did you learn this language, and why did this become your genre?
Well,
And for
it's
the record,
right.
I love this stuff in books. So
Yes, right.
I must get in touch with my inner kook.
Yeah,
I
it's
recognize I recognize it, but this is where you have lived for
well,
a couple of books.
yes. Well, because yeah, it's fascinating. It's cool, is it? I mean, I would love to have Bigfoot's, out there. I would love to have a Loch Ness month. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, yeah. I would love that aliens obsessed with us, who are going to solve our problems at any moment if they only just came down and landed on our lawn at the White House. Yeah, this is just cool stuff. Now, as a 61-year-old, I've now watched it progress. I've watched it turn into folklore. Now, as a teenager in the 70s, there were literally, as an example, for UFOs, there were literally like 5 books about UFOs. Okay, you had the Lubbock Lights, you had Barney and what's her face, the abduction thing, Barney Hill, and like 4 others, and like, yeah, okay, I'm caught up. And in another podcast, I brought up that Fire in the Sky book, and the guy said, "Oh, wait a minute!" He pulls the book out. Look, I got it signed from the author right here. I'm like, "Well, okay, yeah." Um, and the deal was, aliens were so much cooler back when I was in high school because everybody had their own version of an alien. I think the ones in that book floated down and they looked like sort of elephant people, and they carried Barney and Betty Hill back up into the spacecraft, right? Uh, and it's like Star Trek. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, what was your alien like? Well, my alien looked like da 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 da, right? Um, and like I said, it's now folklore. We know what a leprechaun looks like, right? They don't exist, but I can give you an illustration of what a leprechaun looks like. You can clearly give me an illustration of what Santa Claus looks like, right? It doesn't exist. We have now come to the same conclusion that what aliens now exist, right? It took, that 30 years. 30 years. Did you notice how it takes that 30 years period, more than that? So we now all agree what an alien, the classic alien gray, looks like. And I've watched it slowly evolve as an old guy now. And I remember the turn is right around Close Encounters of the Third Kind, late 77, right? Spielberg had sort of some like gray looking little ones in the front, but his main Papa alien was kind of skinny, long arms, and kind of a deformed head, but it wasn't a gray, right? Same time, Communion came out, Ridley Stryber book, I believe, where it had that picture of that almost classic alien gray on the cover, and that was in every aisle of your grocery store. As a teenager, I'm sitting there looking at it like, okay, that must be what an alien looks like. And everyone else saw this book sitting there for a good solid few years. That okay, yeah, if I'm gonna make up an alien, that's a good looking prototype right there, right? X-Files came out right now. Okay, they're mostly alien grays, gray kind of things, and now it's like, yeah, oh, obviously aliens look like grays. We've all now decided that they look like that. And like, really, what happened to all the other cool aliens that certainly people were going on about and really believed? That's that what they saw. Um, Now that again, it's 2 separate questions here, or 2 things that we're dealing with here. Whether there's actually intelligent life or life like us someplace in the universe. That's one question. The other question is, well, did they actually bother to make the trip and then give us a rectal exam? Hold on, that's a completely separate thing here.
Let's start with the
And
first one.
okay,
Is there intelligent life that we would recognize as intelligent life in the universe
now,
besides us?
right now, the class, yeah, yes. Look at all the stars, look at all the galaxies. Yes, and the numbers look pretty, yeah, promising, right? And we're really what we're really saying, right, is like, is there something like us that's out there, right? I mean, because certainly if it's so advanced, it's just a cloud of vapor that's intelligent. Well, we can't shake our hands with it. We can't, yeah.
We honestly only care about things like us. I think.
Yeah,
If
something
it
that,
if it looked like a vacuum cleaner, we wouldn't care.
yeah,
If if it
Ah,
was, something that was so advanced that it was formless and couldn't communicate, we wouldn't
ooh,
care.
ooh, ooh. My first book, I went there in the first book. In fact, that is my alien spoiler in the first book. The dog played with it the whole time. Here's my dog. The whole joke in the first book is what if, the total premise is what if we're all obsessed with the alien grays. The alien grays are, we need to find the alien grays. That's that's Georgie. And the point is, the real aliens, which are just like bone, like crystal things, the humans. Hey, wait, give me a break. What happens if you're stale? Here, Georgie, come here, come here, come here.
Look,
Shut up, shut
I
up, shut
also
up,
have
shut
a
up.
dog.
Okay,
It's all
here,
right.
calm down.
I locked him out for this show, which is
Come
why
on,
you
yes, I
which is
should
why
have.
you
Yeah, I
haven't
should have
seen
done
it.
that.
No,
Really
no, it's
quiet. So the whole jokey premise is, what if the humans were? What happens if you're standing on the aliens because your preconceived notion of an alien is, well, it's got to look like a gray, uh, and that the only thing that was interacting with the aliens was a dog, and that basically the aliens then came to the conclusion, well, the only thing intelligent on this planet are canines, and I take it from there.
yeah.
Uh,
I I actually think that if there are aliens out there, that may be a possibility. We imagine ourselves as kind of either the peak of, if I can use the word loosely, creation, or very near the peak. And so we consider that life that's worth being interested in is going to look something like us.
right,
It's going to be there. I also think the picture, the image of the gray that we've all come to know,
right,
came to such popularity because it's so easy to describe and easy to draw and easy to
right.
reproduce.
Okay.
The aliens that are truly complicated,
Right.
they don't
Take
they
take
don't
take
survive.
take these filthy animals away from me here. All right. All right. There. Okay. That's my editor.
Ah,
That's
okay.
my editor. What was my rant at? My rant here. Oh yeah, yeah. But generally, dumb people can't conceive of anybody or anything smarter than them, right? I mean, that's that's just basically how it goes here. As an example, the crash saucer stories. I am so disappointed in these advanced extraterrestrials that managed to get from wherever they came from, avoided every little particle to get from there to here, and then just hit our planet. Like, really? Thank God they
Okay.
crashed because
Actually,
if they
you're
can't.
my long lost uncle. How you doing?
Okay, right,
I've
right.
I've said this
So,
many times.
all
Why
right,
is it that these advanced aliens
just
who have the ability to get from there to here, but they can't
right.
land? They can't land.
The planet was just wow. It's like, yeah, it's like really like thank God they're not landing on the White House line, because yeah, again, because you can't conceive of a piece of technology that just doesn't fail, right? I mean, and there's plenty of examples of this going back through history. I mean, starting with the Romans, like, well, that sun's a chariot wheel, right? Okay, all right. And then if you ask somebody, let's say at the 1800s, like you ask me, hey, how do you think we're going to go really fast in the future? Like, oh, and you kind of key them in, like saying, listen, we've got this thing called genetics where we can change things. They're like, oh, well, big horses. You're going to have giant, fast horses, and people will be zooming around on fast horses in the year 2024, right? It's like, yeah, you're just there's other technology that's coming that you can't even conceive of as people who are just sitting here in the year 2024. Um, yeah. On that note, final note on, I got some research here. If anyone
Mhm.
else wants to read this, read the book "Alone in the Universe" by John Gribben, Gribbin. I have to paraphrase this really quick. Um, is that is if you when you are first thing I want to get in real quick even if there is one advanced civilization like us, um, and per universe, right, or
Mhm.
galaxy, um, basically we're alone, right? Because like,
Mhm.
how do we even communicate with someone on another galaxy, right? It's we can sort of kind of get our minds around. Well, we could probably get to Alpha Centauri, right? That's a toughie, but yeah, all right, we can kind of do that. And then you go, all right, then communicate over or move over. yeah, 50 years of light, of light speed space, and it's just, your mind just melts, right? You just, and then saying, oh yeah, how are you going to get to another galaxy? Like,
Mhm.
yeah. So basically, in a sense, we are alone, up until we can, I don't know. Yeah, it's just so hard. But so there could be literally a billion, yeah, civilizations per, just one per galaxy, and there's billions. Um, Another a little crackpot side thought, theory here, uh, is now you got to realize. All right, this goes back to the book, and let me try to piece all this together here.
Mhm.
Um, is basically he points out in his book that, look, how old is the universe? Was it 3 billion or 4 billion or 3.5 billion? It took a while to actually get something that looks like us, right?
Mhm.
That's made up of nitrogen, oxygen. It's got some metals in it. To actually get to where we are, took, forget about the first billion years of the universe, right?
Mhm.
I'm crudely paraphrasing here, where basically we to get something that looks like us, you need metals. And that requires a star to, supernova, condense, do it again multiple times. Um, so it just so then you need to get us down to the point where, okay, we actually have the ingredients now for life, which could take 2 billion, and that's, once you do have us, then you need then it narrows down to, like, okay, now you need a sun like ours that's not giving out gamma radiation, or he basically shows all the examples of how you can keep narrowing it down to, like, it never goes to zero, obviously, yeah.
Mhm.
So, and obviously we exist, so yeah, it happened. uh and like, the one of the big questions is we have a pretty good idea that, like, a Mars shaped object crashed into us, and that's what formed the moon early on in our development, right? And we just happen to be in the Goldilocks zone. So to get us, and if the moon is something that important for intelligent life, right? The whole, tides, we needed it. First of all, it stabilized the planet, right? So um, we could have just been in a planet just spinning wildly, and then whether that's conducive to life. But we know for a fact that the moon has sort of, in a sense, kept us upright, right? And it's kept us stable for all this time here. If that's an important ingredient, that's, having a little binary planet in the Goldilocks zone. Well, that narrows it down to a, more. And you can also say that is there a Goldilocks zone where you are in the galaxy? If you in the middle there, and if there's a black hole and stars are going supernova, yeah, you'll be toast too. So we're so could be in the outside area of the Goldilocks zone of a galaxy. So his point is, like, okay, so let's just say that, yeah, that it's one per, billion stars per galaxy. Yeah, it's one per galaxy. Uh, that, again, we're still alone here. So that doesn't answer the question: will we ever meet them? And if they ever figured out how to get here, it's like, wow, that's, yeah, that's, that's pretty damn advanced. Where my mind, I just melts.
What do you say to the Christian who would make that same argument, which they do?
Yeah,
Look at the infinitesimal chances that the things that would have to come together to make
right.
life. Doesn't it make more sense that we were placed here, that we were made intentionally, rather than that we are the product of a cosmic accident?
Right. Well, that feels good. So what's wrong with forming randomly? And then now we're going to go into the whole 747 argument, the, like, blah blah blah, how it can, blah blah blah. We've gone, yeah. All the what's his face? Not Sam Harris, and those, who's the other atheist guy?
And
The
didn't
He's gone over this a whole bunch. The watchmaker. So yeah.
you mean
Well,
Dawkins, the
yeah, thank you. Yeah,
biologist?
yeah.
Mhm.
Old guy, C61 here. So yeah, so what's wrong with randomness? Well, again, it feels emotionally. It feels, wow, no, there's a creator. I've got, everything is solved. Okay, the creator, blah 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 blah. We got to keep praying to him. He might blow my house down. I got to, yeah, that's fine. If you
Do
want to
you
go with that model,
right?
uh,
So let's just say randomness is a possibility. Do you buy it? Do you think that it was all random? Is that a kind of a positive
well,
belief of yours, or is that just the most likely thing
Well, again,
going?
I don't know. So, I mean, when I say I don't know, I'm sort of saying, well, science doesn't know. I mean, we have some, guesses, and that's yeah, we got guesses.
Mhm.
And one of the things is if it took only one chance per galaxy or even per universe, and you can actually get the DNA molecules across uh, the reaches of space. Um, did it just start once and then spread from there? And then we're number 12 or something from the original batch, you know. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
we're looking into that.
I'm just sensitive to the argument that, randomness is a very convenient answer. It seems very unlikely.
Yeah. Well, the answer is we
It's,
don't know. We don't know. In fact, we don't know how to make life from scratch, right?
Mhm.
We can't do that. No scientist can say, well, I'm going to make a paramecium in this dish. We'll be done in a week.
Mhm.
Here, I'll see you. Don't know. We just
Does
don't
it bother
know.
you that you don't know? I mean,
Well,
is there any kind of existential angst that you don't know what got all of this started?
well, uh, I don't. I will be dead in probably 20 years. So the angst is like, damn it! I wish I could be around to when they do figure it out. I know.
Mm.
I'm. If you put enough guys in lab coats, yeah, we're making progress on it, right? So why do I have to come up with an answer? Why do I have to decide right now, knowing that there's lots more development that's going to happen, hopefully, right? And if we don't blow
Mhm.
ourselves up like that argument. So the angst is like, damn it, I will have never known. I'll be dead. and and
So
I can't even hope that like someone in heaven will come up and say, by the way, Eric, we figured out life here as two angels here. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, yeah, that's the angst. I'm like, yeah,
okay,
damn it,
so
I'll probably never know.
we're rounding the corner on the time, but I don't want to
Okay,
let you go. We're gonna have you give us a synopsis of your books, High Strangeness and
I
Higher
strangers.
Strangeness. I can tell you, just reading the synopsis from Amazon, it just made me want to cancel the podcast and just read the books, because it, like I said, it speaks to my inner kook, and I think that we've all got an inner kook, whether we admit it or not.
Yeah.
But it seems to me there's a lot of overlap, some crossover, if you will, between religion and UFO
Right.
culture. There's
And and conspiracy culture.
yeah, conspiracy culture. I'm trying to think of a word that's all encompassing, because
Right.
I don't want to say paranormal. That maybe implies something more than this, but there's an overlap, and I'm just wondering if throughout the course of your writing you've considered some of that overlap. In particular, um,
No, in fact, the third book may be that in particular. I mean,
okay,
I may tackle that exactly in the third book.
so
Highest strangeness, if I ever
so
get to it.
the one of the things that I find to be overlapping in
Right.
religion in this other culture would be the idea that the being utterly convinced, in fact, that there is a higher power, almost needing something that's higher than humanity, more that's transcendent, almost. And in religion, we develop an entire cosmology of higher powers. We have angels and demons and jinns and gods, and if you're a monotheist, you still have multiple types of beings. You have God and his angels and seraphim, and spirits, and then the evil side of things. So there's a whole cosmology of those things that are all higher than humanity. And then with UFO culture, you have people looking to the skies, convinced that if there are aliens out there, then they must be higher than us, smarter than us, more advanced than us. This almost certainty and need for a higher power. Have you noticed that similarity?
Oh yeah. Well, My argument is all right. Is if you're trying to argue conspiracy culture with a religious person, you have to say, listen, all right, you're on board that there's a guy in the sky controlling everything, right? I mean, that's just your belief system. You bought into it. We're not like, well, maybe not in your mind that's yeah, that makes sense. There's works from the top down, basically. Guy in charge of my everyday life, things happen, and certainly, oh well, that makes sense. That yeah, the government is controlling that, and it's all top down. Yeah, I mean, if that's in you, if that's just how you feel, it's like you're already half. You're most of the on way. You're on board with any conspiracy theory because that's just how your mind operates, right? As a whatever religious, you know, person. So at that point, I'm like, yeah, there's no getting through.
Okay.
No getting.
So
Yeah,
you
I'm
mentioned conspiracies. You brought that up twice.
right,
I think this is another actual connection between religion and conspiracy culture, which is the idea that there is a secret knowledge that special people can be aware of. Whether it's QAnon
right.
or whether it's the spiritual person who hears the still small voice of God and hears the word of God calling out to them, hears the spiritual messages in the word of God that are kind of hidden to troglodytes like you and I.
Right.
So they're convinced that they can be plugged into a secret knowledge that is not apparent to other people, but because they're special in some way, or they have plugged into that which is special. Conspiracy theorists feel very special that they have this esoteric knowledge, and Christians feel very special that they have this esoteric knowledge of how cosmology unwound. Another thing that you might explore in your book, because this is another thing that I find a fascinating connection between Christian culture
Right.
and UFO, Bigfoot, conspiracy, mystery culture.
Here, let me toss in this little bit here. I got some of my research notes here, and I think this is the basis of everything here, right? Is basically what if you're born that way? What if you're like, yeah, no, you're physically wired to believe conspiracy theories, and then God, and other people have talked about this, where perhaps if you're just I'm the weirdo. I'm the guy who out of humanity, I'm the guy who literally will look at things objectively, and yeah, and I have no problem with uncertainty. Just yeah, I don't know. I'm just yep, okay. I don't need an answer. But anyway, some research. I got this out of the Atlantic from 2009. Liberals and conservatives react in wildly different ways to repulsive pictures. Right, basically, and you can actually scan for them. Let me read it real quick. They scanned the brains of subjects as they looked at a variety of images, such as mutilated animals, filthy toilets, faces covered with sores, to see whether neural responses showed any correlation with political ideology. There was, and they were watching literally their brains as they did this,
Mhm.
which implies that yeah, they're born that way. Whether you want to say, oh, maybe they learned behavior. My argument is like, if you look at a box of puppies, there's always one that's friendly, there's one that's slightly scared. I mean, it seems like Mother Nature is just trying to make different variations. And basically, you almost so from this study, they're saying that you can literally tell if you're going to be conservative or not, just by the way you emotionally react to ooh, a picture. Oh my God. If someone mentions ticks to me, I go, oh, ticks. That's fascinating. Yeah. What's really, and where some people are like, oh no, well, that's their first, they do a knee jerk to whatever subject you're on. And that, yeah, you could sort of remap, you could, some of these people, you could maybe, say, listen, don't go crazy here, over, any kind of stimuli. But that's just different. That's just the difference in between human beings. So the fact is, if you were actually born that way, and if that's actually ingrained on more, certain people, obviously it's not binary where, you're one or the other.
Mhm.
That yeah, you're not going to get through.
So I have a different
We have to figure out how to live. Us rationals have to figure out how to live with those emotionals.
I have a different theory. Let me run it by you.
Okay.
Um, So I am not comfortable, even though I tend to do it, uh, making hard lines of us and them.
Right.
I want us all to be us, and I recognize
That'd be
that
nice.
that is a very difficult thing to do. But my theory is that we all do start mostly at the same starting point as children, small brains, undeveloped. We're in a strange world. From the moment we come from the womb, our first response is to yell because something has gone drastically wrong with the universe once we have come out. Because we have an idea of the universe and we come out here and it's nothing like what it's supposed to be. So we yell, of course. And as we grow up, going through the various stages of maturation, a child sees things that just look like magic, and they just accept it. They flip a switch and a light comes on. How does that happen? They don't know. They've stopped asking the question. It's just magic. It happens. They press a button on a little box they hold in their hand, and then this screen comes on, and people entertain them. How do TVs work? What's going on? They don't know. They don't care. It's all magic. We just kind of accept this layer of magical thinking up to a certain age, and it may be different for all of us. It's easy to sell kids on Santa Claus magic.
Right.
It's a part of their universe, and at about the age where we're selling kids on Santa Claus, we're also selling them on Jesus. We're also
Sure.
selling them on God. The ultimate. This is why Christians want to get there so young, because the magical thinking is a part of all of us at that age, and they need to get it in before it works out. And I just think that some of us work our way out of that for whatever circumstances, out of magical
Right.
thinking, and others don't. And I don't think it's so much of an us and them. I think that culture then does insert itself. If you live in a culture where magical thinking is just a part of how your culture thinks, you're probably not going to come out of it. And if you do come out of it, it's hard work. It's tough going for someone who wasn't raised in that kind of culture. So it's another one of those similarities between religious culture and UFO cult culture, um, which is a kind of a anything could happen. I hear Christians say this a lot. Anything could happen. Anything could be true. God could, why would you doubt God and miracles and things? Anything can happen. And UFO cult culture is a little bit like that as well, because anything could happen. And so why not this? I think it's, I think magical thinking is one of the things that connects the two. Magical thinking that for whatever reason, either they can't come out of or they find it so comforting that they don't want to.
Well, I'm implying that what if it's in our DNA? What if it's like magical thinking is in, and other scientists have put this forward here. But if it's actually in there, not a lot you can do about it. I mean, maybe at some point we can identify the DNA magical or the religious sequence, or
But
however gene
I
expression we
think
can
it
put in
is in
there.
there though. I do
Well,
think it's
right.
in there, but I think
So
it's something that can be overcome, like fear of the dark. That's in there too.
yeah. Well, but yeah. Then well on that point, I think Neil deGrasse Tyson pointed this out that when you look at religiosity versus scientists, right, and as you go through master's degrees, PhDs, religion just drops off the more education you get,
Mm-hmm.
but it never goes to zero.
Mm-hmm.
And there are
Mm-hmm.
people who have hit the end of learning their double PhDs, and they're still going to go, I know all about the scholars, I know how, I know it all, but I'm still going with the God. It just makes me feel good, and that number's small, but it's still out there, and that kind of implies that no matter how much you try to I'm saying convincing them, they learned these things all on their own, or at least
Mm-hmm.
school did. So that's kind of interesting that yeah, there's And I personally know a guy. My best friend's father was an astrophysicist. Went to MIT. His house was literally a library. He spent his entire life reading. As for he would learn languages as a hobby. He knew, like, he could speak fluently, I think at 8, and that's just really just like, wow. It's just a brain on this guy, and he's an astrophysicist. That's what he does, right? And by the way, my friend's a little nerd too, but he still went to church, and I'm like, he's dead now, but and I never really got a chance to sit with him and say, really? So you know how all about psychology, how humans operate. You can probably pull a book off of your shelf all about psychology, all about where the Bible or religion, originated from. He knew all religions, how they came together, and he still went with it. I was like, God, really? But yeah, so my only answer to that is like, yeah, if it's in there, if it's in there, you're just like, I need to hold on to that. I'm emotionally, I just like that better than the rational choice,
Hmm.
and certainly, yeah, and that's the problem with the science answer. It's a lousy answer. I mean, you've seen what's his face, Mr. Billions and Billions, Carl Sagan, right? He
Hmm.
goes, we're all Stardust. We all go back to Stardust, right? Yes, we do. Yeah, I don't. That's a crappy answer. Yes,
Yeah.
that is the correct answer. But emotionally, it's like, yeah, that doesn't do it. No matter how many times you say, "Oh, well, Stardust, you'll live forever as Stardust." Like, yes, I will. All right. See, so
Is that living? Is
the what?
that really, is that living? Is that really living?
Yeah. It's emotionally, it's like, yeah, I know that's true. That's the best science can say is you'll go back to Stardust. You came from Stardust. You'll go back to Stardust. And it's like, yes, the emotionals, and we need, yeah,
So
just like, yeah, I'm going with the God. I like that better. I don't Stardust. Yeah, that doesn't do it for me.
so
So
before we have you give us a synopsis of these books, let me just ask one more thing. I'm gonna do a write up, and I'll write up all of the things that we didn't get to here.
okay.
But um, it's been such a delight. Tell me, if there are intelligent aliens, and if they did visit the planet, where are you on this? Would they be the benevolent aliens, the godlike beings who say, "Look, we just want to share all the answers. We're gonna, it's gonna be, we'll help you with your technology. We'll show you how to live, and it's gonna be paradise." Or are you on the other side of alien culture that says, "Oh no, they're gonna blow us to hell"? Is it alien heaven or alien hell?
Uh,
Which would it be?
all right. All right. I've ranted about this before here. All right. Where the hell, where did I start in this? All right. First off, all right. How much time do we have left on this podcast here?
Look,
I'll make this short.
this is a truncated podcast because I have another
Okay.
show in a little
All right.
bit. But
Yeah.
normally, this wouldn't even be the introduction on an SNS. So,
All right. All right. All right. For the only thing we all right, let's the only thing we can assume that I think correctly is okay. Whatever extraterrestrials, whether they're wherever they are, but they're if they got here, they're advanced, right? And that means their powers of observation are better than ours, right? I mean, that's a safe assumption. You can't assume too much on things like that, right? But their powers of observation are better. I mean, that's like a given, right? Right? I mean, that's just naturally, right? So so who says that they to get a good look at us, if this is if they made the trip, right, because they need to because they need to make the trip to get closer to see us, right, which is how we think. But if their powers of observation greater, then certainly they certainly could have gotten a good look at us at outside in the orbit of Pluto, or maybe the next star over, right? Yeah, we can see what they're doing. We can clearly see them walking around. Yep, they've solved fission, and now they're working on fusion. Okay, they got the first guy out. They know, where we are technology. Why they had to have gone through something like that. Again, assume that's not some gaseous thing, but assuming that they're okay, they're based off of meat. well, they know where we are and where we are heading to. If they, assuming that again they exist and they made the trip, they went through kind of roughly the same timeline we did to be able to form a spacecraft. And this is still more assumptions on my end here to get whether it bends space, however, they know where we are, right? Okay, let's come up with a cool thing that if the aliens gave us this would be the greatest thing for humanity, right? And let's say there was a box. Go ahead. Yeah, here you go. Okay, let's say the aliens gave us the power cube, right? There's two leads. There's a plus and minus here, right? And this will drive your house, your car, for your life, and you'll give this to your kids. And this will just this is basically a nuclear power plant boiled down into this little box here, right? Greatest. This would help humanity greatly, right? We could clean up the planet, blah blah blah. We could, do everything. But by the way, also they're going to mention, but if you take these two leads and touch them to your neighbor, they will vaporize. You can kill. This can turn into a weapon real easy. Ray guns, etc. And they know, and just observing us, we go insane as a species, right? 1918, if they're watching, yeah, yep, look at them go. Yep, they just killed each other. 19 in the 40s, yeah, there they go again. Yep, they haven't learned much. And just, we're 40 years later. Yeah, we're still, we're big fish that eat little fish. That is us. This is how we operate here. So why would they give us anything that we can just hurt ourselves on? Yeah, I know we would love to have them become parents. It's like, no, do all this. Yes, that's a nice. I like that. But why would they? But but it's like giving like a box of hand grenades to some Aborigines. And it's like, oh, this is a useful tool. Like, no, they're going to just kill each other. They're going to kill each other with us. So my point. This is my answer to the Fermi paradox. Is there's no reason for an advanced civilization to contact us because they can just observe what the hell we're doing. Yeah, we know where we are. Yep, there we are. Yep, got it. In fact, what if there's plenty? What if that's common? We're just yet another one that's in this stage of development. Yeah, there's 100 others that slightly bigger. Blah blah blah. So my argument is there's no reason. There's that's why we're not going to see anybody land and shake our hands. Uh, so yeah, basically there you go. So what was the first question? I'm ranting.
I'm pretty sure that was the first.
Yeah, that was
I'm
the
pretty
first
sure that
question.
was the
So
first and second question.
yeah,
They
so there you go.
they wouldn't comment. I like the answer because it would be a little bit like they would have to be so far advanced from
Right.
us that they wouldn't see us as intelligent.
Correct.
They might see us like fish,
Right.
slugs. Would you, as the president of the world, invest
Okay.
the budget to go across the universe to go observe some fish? You
Now,
you just wouldn't do it.
right.
It wouldn't make any
Yes.
sense.
Well, yeah. Well, by the way, what kind of fish are over there? Okay. Well, yes. Fine. Got it. Now, all right, again, going to the premise that someone's been watching us this whole time. Right? Okay. Let's assume someone's been watching. We we've been known for a very long time as a giant lizard planet, right? A long time. In fact, that may be the default out there. This is the one crackpot theory that I'm sort of almost adhering to. It's like I wouldn't be surprised if the alien did land. By the way, the universe is filled with giant lizard planets, right? Life grows. There it is. Whether it kicks into intelligentness like us is a separate thing. Certainly, we have no evidence that we like to think that we're naturally progressing. Evolution wants to make us. No, it doesn't. There were no lizard men forming, slowly, or there were no signs of thumbs being formed on velociraptors. Yeah, it took how many comets? I think one, two, three resets. Oh, geez, how many years, millions of years before we actually got to this point now where, okay, fine, a mammal popped out, and then off we go. Now we're building metal spaceships, da 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 da. So that's another part of the thing that I talked about the other guy's book here. Um, is yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's mostly giant lizard planets out there. And like I said, we're the weirdo here. We could be in fact, we could be the first one. This is another thing is like, okay, so if it took this on time for the universe to get intelligent life, whether someone became intelligent only after one comet hit versus two versus three, it took us three comet hits or asteroid hits, right, to hit the reset button to have a primate jump out of, form, climb in the savannah, and blah 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 blah. Other interesting thing is okay. All right, so if there's water worlds out there, right? What if? Okay, fine. What if? And certainly life started first in the ocean, from what we can tell, right? What if there's hardly any land and there are some water worlds out there that, yeah, there's lots of big whales, and they're fairly, they actually sort of get smart. But if you actually if you live in a water world, if you're a dolphin, how are you going to get off to your moon, right? You need fire. And if you live in this liquid environment, you'll never get fire. So that's one example of just like, yeah, okay, so that's another form of intelligence that could be out there, right? Dolphin world, whale world, or
Also,
whatever.
why would you want to? I mean, the reason some of the reasons that we want to get off of our world is because we've destroyed it.
Right.
We've overpopulated it. We've done the kind of stupid things that I imagine other species have done and no longer exist. And so I don't, that's just another reason why aliens that are intelligent enough to actually make the trip would look at us and say, "Oh no, they're idiots. They're not going to
Right.
make it."
Because
So
on that, I have another rant on that point here. Is well, as if let me jump back. As a filmmaker, yeah, aliens make good bad guys. Why? They want our water. They want us as bad. Blah blah
they
blah.
don't need our
Yeah.
water.
Well, yes, we've already covered. Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
know.
But some people have said like, oh, yes. The point is,
They
again,
don't
we're
need our women. They don't need
yes,
our dirt.
right. Point is we, yes, as a species, yes, we're the big fish eat little fish. We always need resources here, right? Fine, whether it's food, space to live, and that's the whole objective. Is like, well, we got to colonize Mars so we can cover with condos and just have more people because if that big comet's going to come by, we've got to have another place to advance our civilization. Basically, we're really good at the insect model, right? Create lots of stupid little things, and someone will have gotten, someone will have survived, right? Um, but I mean, if your answer is like, well, we need to colonize Mars because the asteroid may hit us in the future, but that is an engineering problem, right? If we could just say, okay, listen, we're now well in the future where we know every little piece of thing that could end us, we've tracked it already and we can do something about it, right? I mean, okay, we're now smarter. Well, so do we still need to colonize everywhere and we have to colonize another world? Going there and exploring, yeah, fine, that's one thing. But the question is, and the reason why we need to colonize is because why? Because we can't stop humping, right? I mean, yeah, nature said, let's just make a lot of these bugs, people, hump away, spread the mass. We need a
Funny,
giant
funny. God,
biomass
God
out there.
said it too. Be fruitful and multiply.
Right, right. So, but if we had solved our resource problem, that we don't need more water. Yeah, we got plenty of we got power. We don't have to get again. This is classic 18th century 18th century where yeah, we got to invade there because it has either oil, coal, right? We need to go there because of the resources, right? Coal, oil, food, farmland, But if that's solved, and we're actually doing pretty good, you're right. We don't have to no longer have to invade places just for farmland, right? We've solved that problem,
Yeah,
So
I
so
mean,
when you extend it out to the universe, no, we just have to keep farming everywhere. We just have to keep going. What if we actually, get to a point where okay, we don't need the resources, because yeah, we've solved it,
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me,
right,
although I do love reading the books, so we will get
right,
to the books. But I just want to say, kind of to close off this thought,
all right,
I have no desire to go and see what's out there. I don't care.
right,
The world is world enough for me.
right.
Um, I hope that we can find a way to stop fucking it up, because it should be world enough for all of us. There are wonders here, untapped wonders. And if we ever went out in space and found another planet that was even more rich in minerals and what have you than this one, we would still be there fucking it up. And
Sure.
so the problem isn't that we need another planet. The problem is that we need to grow up as a species and learn how to get the most out of this one.
So
So
all right. Well, other rant, right, is okay. I'm rooting for AI. I'm rooting for AI to actually get us beyond the emotionality of being human here. Because when you let's use an example here. And again, they said, oh, AI wants to kill us again. Well, what resources do humans have that AI wants to take from us, right? I mean, technically, if an AI would be very comfortable in outer space, plenty of sun, right? If it's off of power or space sounds like a very appealing place to exist if you're an AI, right? Appealing place to exist for a human is well a Maui beach. I would argue a Maui beach is like this, like it's perfect. The temperature, it's salty, sandy. There's moisture. Worst place for if you're machine based, right? The worst, right? So why would they want to invade Maui? It's like yeah, they don't eat pineapples. Sand, salt water is the horrible thing. Let's space. That's a good place if you're a machine as we are as we imagine them now. How about this? So if we're going to be sending AIs out there, certainly the first thing to make it out to Alpha Centauri won't be a human in a spaceship. Will be have to be some kind of AI craft, and we have got plenty that can do it now. But this thing has to go out to Alpha Centauri, figure out how to put itself around orbits around everything. It has to do all this by itself, which is advanced, and it's not out of our wheelhouse to come up with a thing or whatever that can do that. So here's a little twisty thing I've never heard anyone mention. What if literally the things that are coming to us are the AIs, the biological AI, the squishy aliens are back on their planet, and that literally the UFOs are the AI, are the aliens. There's no little guy inside of it. It's just that is what you're looking at, the alien. It's not based on DNA or biology. And it's built for outer space. If you're just a disc shaped or whatever thing,
yeah,
that's what we're looking at now. Is there is
those
there is there an arm to shake? No,
they would never come
but
here if
it
they're
makes a lousy
AIs.
story. So yeah, no, there
Yeah,
has to be a guy inside of it because that's how
yeah.
we conceive of intelligence. There's a
Right.
guy
Besides,
inside of
the
it. Like
moment the AI got here,
all right,
and introduced itself, we would immediately begin to ask it to start making deep fakes of our favorite celebrities. And
yes.
the AI would just say, yeah, no, I'm out of here. This was
Yeah,
not a good idea.
as a Cole, and as a writer, can I just say that I'm very impressed with Chat GPT 4. I'm very impressed here.
Yeah, you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it. Look, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Look, there's corporate writing, and corporate writing,
Right.
they don't care about writing. All right,
Right.
they just care about
Right.
information. ChatGPT is great for that stuff. I've done my share of corporate writing, hated every
Right.
moment of it.
Okay.
So there's that. But people, I think the reason they read stories like yours is not just because there's information, there's text on a page, but because it's your human perspective. It's you talking to them. It's a mind to mind share. No one wants to look at the mind of a computer. I don't care what a computer has to say. I don't care if a computer can write a better story than you. I'd rather read your story because you write it from my perspective as a human, and I can gain infinitely more from your story than I can from some smart computer that just put together good words. That said, tell us about your story. I don't care if you do dramatic readings from your synopsis or if you just want to spitball for a little bit, but get the audience excited about going
Well,
and grabbing your Kindle book.
yeah, no, I kind of did the spoiler on the first one already, right? So I've sort of covered the first one. Yeah, already here. But for the first one, I did start with like the classic. I took all the nationwide UFO stories, landings, and celebrities, and boiled them down into Cape Cod. Basically, the stories based on Cape Cod. So basically, I've made Cape Cod representative of everything that has happened within UFO culture.
Mm-hmm.
I got my notes here. I haven't looked at these in a while, but basically, yeah. As an example, there was an interesting UFO sighting back in Illinois. Yeah, back in 2001, V-shaped thing. I included that. And some of the podcasts that I've done, so people, the ones who know about the stuff were tittering away because they understood that yeah, you were satirizing that and that. Yeah, basically I was making fun of Applewhite. He had the guy who killed his followers, right?
My
Basically,
favorite cultist of all
I
time.
put a guy called Click into it. He's got his cult waiting for the alien spaceship to arrive. I put that in. Yeah, black box technology, and because on the Cape there is an Air Force base here, so that's where they're storing the aliens. Blah blah blah. Yeah. And then such people as what was the guy's name here? I had it written down here. Yeah, Tom Frazier was a big guy who claimed that he worked at Area 51 and saw the frozen bodies himself. That's worked in there. And I sort of gave an overview of the whole plot. So yeah, if you know about the stuff, I'm satirizing it all. It's all in there. And if you're familiar with it, oh, you're going to see it. Oh yeah, that's Tom Frazier. Sorry, not Tom Frazier. That's the character's name? Bob Lazar. Thank God, Bob Lazar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, it's 5 years ago when I wrote this.
Yeah, I
um,
emphasize the humor. Where
yes,
did the humor come from? I can show you. I had a laugh out loud moment reading the synopsis. It is just one phrase out of context, but it's hilarious. The last stupid man on Earth.
yeah,
Well,
that's the second book.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's the term. Yes, that whole I took the characters that I established in book one, and as example, there's a guy who does a podcast who's into UFO conspiracies, and he basically, that character named Zeke, he turns into Alec Jones. His audience goes well past Cape Cod, so now he's a national celebrity. So basically, I get to hammer on Alec Jones's conspiracies. It is if you remember the Pizzagate, the Comet Pizza, where they thought pedophiles the Democratic pedophile ring was at the Comet Pizza. Basically, yeah, the book starts with a similar character coming in with a gun, looking for this. He heard that this place euthanizes retarded puppies. Damn it, he has to do something about it. Yeah, and basically he's literally just the guy who went into Comet Pizza, Edgar Madison Welch, who thought he was doing good. Right, I'm gonna save the world from democratic pedophiles.
who are secretly lizard people.
We're all lizard people, right? Um, and Mothman. I got a Mothman. I have Mantis Man. So yeah, there's two bridges that get you off Cape Cod. Had fun with that. And QAnon, instead, one of the characters sets up a fake website. Instead of QAnon, it's the Emeron website.
Mm-hmm.
M-O-R-O-N,
Mm-hmm.
Emeron, QAnon. So basically, I get to have fun with those people. Yeah, so basically, so it's almost like an intellectual fantasy. What if the world just became rational? And what happened is the original aliens who imparted wisdom onto the dog my main characters figured, hey, we could sell these on eBay and then have the world enjoy the benefit of knowledge giving aliens. Steal from 2001, right, with a monolith, right,
Mhm.
imparts it to the apes. So for a short while there, everyone has the alien crystal and everyone is rational. And it's a wonderful world where no one does stupid things. And spoiler, ignorance wins in the end here. So
Obviously.
yeah.
Obviously.
So
Eric,
yeah.
it has been a pleasure. Uh, I hope we get to do this again. Writers tend to come on shows because they have something to write,
Got
but
some of the
please
pitch. All right.
don't wait until your third book, Highest Power,
Highest strangeness.
Highest Strangeness,
Strangeness, right.
colon, the last stupid man on earth.
Well, no, that's on the second book.
I
right.
understand that. I'm just saying. I'm just wish casting here
Right, okay.
for your third book. Don't wait until you have that to come back. Shoot me an
Well,
email. Well, we've left so much on the cutting room floor.
right.
So
It's being cut. Okay, it's being cut. Okay.
let's chat again.
Sure. Oh, yeah, well, one quick. Before you're here. Let's see if this makes the edit. Okay.
Okay.
Is for
Oh no,
highest
I don't
strangeness.
actually edit the show.
Oh, okay.
No,
All right.
no, it's just an expression. There's no you've actually done some real filmmaking, and so you
Right.
probably have done some cutting room floor. No, that I edit nothing.
Okay. All right. So the concept, help me out here. I'm trying to figure out where do I go? How do I top even what I've done so far? And I'm thinking, all right, maybe you remember the movie Contact, where Jodie Foster gets to meet the aliens mentally. I'm thinking, all right, maybe I could do something.
I
Maybe,
liked
and then
everything about the movie except how it ended, and I didn't
Right.
like that.
I'm thinking I can fix that. I was thinking, right, same deal where we talk about the gods. Basically, yeah. The character meets God. Yeah, it's got to be high. It's got to be way out there. So yeah, the aliens. If you pile enough of them together, you can just meet God or something like that. So yeah, I'm working on. Just yeah. So, but it will be critical of religion
Yeah,
basically. So
I would like to read a story where they meet God, and it turns out that God is really disappointing.
yeah,
He's just
right.
really, really
We've
not what you were expecting at all.
we've done that. I mean, that's been sort of done like Time Bandits, right? Like remember
Mm.
at the very end there, you see Time Bandits, Terry Gilliam movie where basically a god character is represented as a nice old man who is like he just kind of is a an accountant. So yeah, I've seen that out there. So but yes, that is a good good joke premise. It's like that's it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I
So
mean,
yeah,
I'd like to dive more into that. How God became God, for instance. Maybe God was the last stupid man on his planet.
right, okay, right,
So
right.
look, I'm just
We're
spitballing here.
spitballing here. We're all right.
I'm not a fiction writer.
All right.
I've done too much corporate writing. I've done too much
I've done too much corporate video. Go ahead. Yes.
yeah, so I can't make my mind where I've tried fiction. I
Right.
suck at it. All of my characters sound like me. They sound,
Well,
they sound like the voices
I
in my
put
head.
myself. Yeah, I see. I put my. See, that's my problem. Right? Is I have something to say. So as a writer, I said it. No one agrees with me. But no, one of the protagonists is me. Basically,
Mhm.
I get crap from my editor like this is just you ranting. I'm like, I know. Stealing that. Remember when Galileo had to convert, convince the church that the Copernican model of planets going around the sun, he had to use the character Simplicio, I think. I forgot the name of the document, just so they didn't kill him. Speaking heresy. So yeah, so I'll use that kind of premise where it's like, okay, you sign the conspiracies, the theorists into Simplicico. These are the dummies, and now the smart character lays out the argument. Hopefully,
Do you have a website? Do you have a
yeah,
website?
go to higherstrangeness.net. We'll throw you into that book's website, and then adeadguy.com is sort of my personal website. And now Uh, the joke is, I'm willing to wait. At some point, I will be a dead guy, right? And then, boy, it'll be funny as hell when you go to a dead guy, which is now written by a dead guy. If it takes me 20 years for this joke to play out, I'm willing to wait. So, yeah, go to a dead guy if you want to see baby pictures, or, yeah, it's all on there. Yeah, okay.
I take that back. You're my long lost uncle.
Oh, yeah, all
Yeah. Eat that, Darren Loot. All right. Look,
right.
folks, you know where to find me, Skeptics and Seekers squarespace.com. Log in your
And where can you
Discuss
find the
account.
seeker? The seeker is somewhere else, right?
That,
He's
that
no longer on you.
it's first of all, skeptics and seekers
Right,
squarespace.com. All right,
right.
log in your Discuss account. Discuss away. We talk about all kinds of crap there.
Okay,
And Dale, he's not the only host I've had, by the way, but
right,
he's the only co-host I've had whose site I remember. So it's
right,
Real Seeker Ministries. You can find him on YouTube, actually.
right,
In fact, he was doing a show at the moment that we were getting ready to start doing a show. I had
right.
popped in. He was doing a live show. I said, howdy. I'll be on a show with him in a few minutes with our old friend Darren Kimball Cook. I know this name may not mean much to you, Eric, but it will mean something to our audience. And we will be talking about, among other things, miracles. I love talking miracles.
Okay.
So we will be doing that. And so until the next time, I will see you in the comments. And in the meantime, I'm out. All right. Sir, this has been